Most people think calming the nervous system requires hours of meditation, expensive supplements, or complicated breathing techniques. But what if I told you there's a simple trick, so easy you can do it right now, sitting in your chair, that taps into one of the most powerful nerves in your body, the vagus nerve. All it takes is curling your tongue. Yes, something you did as a child to show off at family gatherings might actually be the gateway to calming your heart rate, lowering stress, and resetting your entire nervous system in seconds. Your vagus nerve is like the body's secret highway, carrying messages between your brain and the vital organs that keep you alive. It stretches from the base of your brainstem down through your chest and abdomen, touching your heart, your lungs, and your gut along the way. Every time it fires, it reminds your body that it doesn't need to be on guard, that survival mode can stand down, and that it's safe to rest, digest, and repair. This is not some mystical concept. It's biology. It's the way your nervous system was designed. But here's the catch. Most of us rarely let it work the way it's supposed to. Instead, we live in a constant drip of adrenaline and cortisol. The ping of your phone, the honk of a car horn, the endless pressure to do more and be more, all keep your system in fight or flight. That switch was meant to save you from a predator once in a while, not to be flipped on the 24 hours a day. And the more it stays on, the harder it is for the vagus nerve to break through the noise. That's where the tongue trick comes in. Curling your tongue may seem like a party trick or a genetic quirk, but when you combine it with controlled breathing, it's like a backdoor key to the vagus nerve. As the air cools across your tongue and your breath slows, it nudges this hidden highway to take over, quieting your racing thoughts, dropping your heart rate, and sending a clear message to every organ that the storm has passed. What's remarkable is how immediate it feels. You don't need weeks of training or hours of silence. You can feel the shift in seconds, as though you've reminded your body how to do what it was always meant to do. Now you may be wondering how something as strange and simple as curling on your tongue could possibly have anything to do with calming your nervous system. And the explanation lies in the wiring of the tongue itself. We think of it as just a muscle for tasting food or forming words, but it's far more connected than that. The tongue is linked to several cranial nerves, pathways that lead straight back into the brainstem and overlap with the vagus nerve, the very same nerve that governs your rest and digest functions. When you roll your tongue into that curved, you shape and pull air through it, you're not just changing how you breathe, you're sending signals through those nerves that nudge the vagus into action. The air that moves across the tongue cools as it passes, and that cooling creates a sensory response that the nervous system interprets as soothing. It's like pressing a reset button that tells the body it can slow down long before neuroscience could measure nerve firing or heart rate variability. Ancient yogis discovered this practice and gave it a name, Saitali Pranayama. They didn't have the instruments to explain why it worked, but they knew from experience that it cooled the body, settled the mind, and restored balance. What's fascinating is that modern research is finally validating what they intuited. The act of curling the tongue and breathing through it engages reflexes that switch off the constant background alarm of stress and flip the nervous system toward calm. It's not magic, it's anatomy, And it shows that sometimes the simplest physical gestures can unlock deep biological responses hidden in plain sight. Breathing through a curled tongue does something more profound than just stimulating a nerve. It alters the very state of your physiology in real time. As the air glides across the moist surface of the tongue, it naturally cools, and even a small drop in temperature is enough to signal the body that the environment is safe and calm. That cooling sensation is paired with the deliberate slowing of the breath, which immediately tames the sympathetic nervous system, the branch that drives stress responses like a pounding heart and shallow breathing. With each controlled inhale, the stress switch begins to dim, and with each slow exhale through the nose, another signal is sent to the vagus nerve, strengthening its tone. Scientists measure this effect through something called heart rate variability, the tiny fluctuations between each heartbeat. And when variability goes up, it means the vagus is in control and the body is resilient. You're not tricking yourself into feeling calm. You're literally shifting the gears of your nervous system. It's like retraining a muscle. The more often you practice this style of breathing, the more quickly your body learns to exit fight or flight and return to balance. Over time, these repeated signals act like a shield against the corrosive effects of chronic stress, protecting your heart, your blood vessels, even your brain from the silent wear and tear that builds up when the stress response is left unchecked. Something as ordinary as curling your tongue and breathing becomes a form of nervous system training, a way of teaching your body to respond with calm where it once reacted with panic. The vagus nerve doesn't stop at the heart. It runs down into the gut, creating a constant two-way conversation between the brain and the digestive system. This loop is why a stressful thought can trigger nausea, cramps, or a sudden loss of appetite, and why digestive problems can just as easily cloud your mood or drain your focus. When stress hijacks the vagus, the stomach and intestines tighten, blood flow is diverted away from digestion, and the whole system grinds to a halt. That's why you feel your stomach knot before a presentation, or why anxiety can leave you feeling sick. But when you curl your tongue and slow your breathing, you're not only dialing down mental stress, you're also sending a signal straight into this gut-brain highway. The intestines relax, circulation returns, enzymes begin to flow, and the digestive process wakes back up. The effect can be subtle at first, a loosening in the belly, a release of tension you didn't even realize you were holding, but it builds with practice. The gut is lined with millions of neurons, sometimes called the second brain, and when the vagus nerve is allowed to do its job, that second brain communicates smoothly with the first. Instead of being stuck in a loop of stress, the conversation shifts toward balance and restoration. What feels like a simple breathing trick is in fact a way to restore harmony between the mind and the body, letting both work together instead of against each other. The beauty of this technique is how accessible it is, because unlike so many practices that demand time, equipment, or a perfect setting, this one asks almost nothing of you. You don't have to sit cross-legged in a quiet room. You don't have to light candles, and you don't have to carve out a long window in your day. All you need is your tongue, your breath, and about half a minute. The next time you feel your chest tighten, your mind racing, or your patience slipping, curl your tongue, draw in a cool breath for 4 steady counts. Then release it slowly through your nose for 6. Almost instantly, you'll notice the shift. Your shoulders begin to unclench, your jaw releases without effort, and your heartbeat settles into a calmer rhythm. The effect is subtle yet powerful, like taking the edge off an internal storm before it builds into something bigger. What matters most is not just trying it once, but weaving it into your daily rhythm. Each repetition teaches your vagus nerve to respond more quickly, to step in and restore balance before stress spirals out of control. Over time, it becomes second nature, the same way lifting weights builds strength or practicing an instrument sharpens skill. But instead of exhausting you, this training nourishes you. It builds a kind of inner resilience, a calm you can carry anywhere, whether you're at your desk, in traffic, or facing a moment of conflict. With just a few breaths, you remind your body how to return to safety, and that reminder grows stronger the more you practice. Stress is not just a feeling you carry in your head. It's chemistry, and it runs through your entire body like a slow poison. When it lingers too long, cortisol stays elevated, blood sugar remains high, blood vessels stiffen, and inflammation smolders in every corner of your system. Over time, that chemistry reshapes the trajectory of your health, speeding up aging, weakening immunity, and opening the door to chronic disease. But this doesn't have to be the path you follow. The hopeful truth is that the nervous system is not fixed, it's adaptable, and you have more influence over it than you've been led to believe. The vagus nerve is your greatest ally in this fight, a built-in reset button that can interrupt the cycle before it does its damage. Something as small and unassuming as curling your tongue and breathing with intention may look trivial, yet it flips the biology of stress on its head. It tells your body to lower cortisol, to restore balance to blood sugar, to soothe inflammation, and to return to repair mode. These aren't abstract benefits. They're real protective shifts that add up day after day, preserving energy, mood, and health. The more often you reach for tools like this, the more you train yourself to respond to life with resilience instead of reactivity. And that shift changes everything, because instead of stress dictating how you feel and how you age, you begin to direct the outcome. It's not just calm you reclaim, it's agency, and with it comes the power to build a healthier, longer, and more balanced life.